Thanks for coming, everyone. It is June 18th, 2024, and I do hereby start the community meeting for OpenSearch project. Thanks for coming by. Let's get some of the netiquette out of the way, which I do every time. Sorry if you're tired of hearing it. I feel somewhat obligated to share it. Please do introduce yourself if you're speaking. Mute yourself if you're unless you're actively speaking, and cameras are, of course, optional. We can't all be blessed with pretty faces. Questions anytime in chat or audio, although if we have a presenter, let's yield to their preference. And if you're disruptive, we will remove you. And of course, various features have been turned off in this meeting to keep people from, say, writing on the screen or imitating someone else or, disrupting the ongoing discussion. Savvy? Wonderful. Well, without much ado, I wanted to share that we have OpenSearchCon North America coming out, and I wanted to make sure that this gets spread far and wide because I sure would like to see that fill up with people. Now, we have a number of CFPs presented already, but I'd love to see more people registered, and it doesn't look like we're charging anything for that either. So yeah, it's a free for all. Sign up and you're welcome to come and visit us in the lovely San Francisco. And that should be some fun. Recently the CFP date has been extended to the 28th of this month. So if you're all about the last minute on submitting those proposals to talk, you still got 10 days. So I'll expect to hear from get the bulk of them in about a week, which is par for the course if I've learned anything so far. Looks like we do have, oh yeah, we have some updates. We did release 2.14. I think we are prepping to release 2.15 here pretty soon. If we don't have much to talk about, I'm happy to share some tricks that I use when updating the website that might help other people, like, say, writing blogs or making their own community profile. I made an intake form for people who do want to present at the community meeting. So if I'll make an alias or perhaps embed this in one of our site pages pretty soon, but there is a link here that we can share that you can click on as soon as I can copy and paste that thing. Yikes.
Just just a reminder, we do have the agendas posted on the forum every time. That's typically where we register interest with the upcoming meetings as well. So continue to post on the forum.
And I did want to plead to the community that we are a community-driven product. So if you feel like you might have something to contribute in terms of direction or implementation or anything like that, here's a link to all of our open RFCs and GitHub that are not closed. That's all I really had right off the bat. Let's open it up here. I know we've got an intimate setting here, seven people. Does anyone have anything on their mind that they want to bring up? Is anything as we put it on our teams, anything keeping you guys up at night regarding open search, or are you dying to talk about anything? Now's the time to unmute yourself and bring something up.
I'll go ahead and share a couple links in the chat as well.
Rad.
We did have a very good turnout at Berlin Buzzwords this year. It was June 9th through 11th over in Berlin, Germany. We're platinum sponsors again this year, second year in a row, and we got a lot of good feedback from the community. There were two official presentations, as well as two things shared at Barcamp, which is similar to our OpenSearch Con unconference kind of format. A little different, but very similar. But let me put the two links to our different presentations. Everyone, these are YouTube links that are already live on Berlin Buzzwords YouTube channel. So please feel free to watch these. Uh, the team did a lot of work to get these out, and both of them had live demos, which, as anyone that has gone to a conference can imagine, both of them pulled off live demos with no hitches. So pretty darn cool to watch. Um, and we'll probably have a link to, or we'll probably have a blog post out within a week or so, and a little recap, some images and embeds to these videos as well.
Yeah, not only is it difficult to get those to go off without a hitch, it's also nerve-wracking because Murphy's Law and all that. If something can go wrong, it will. But from what I understand, these went off really well. So yeah, hats off to Mingxi, Oace, Praveen, and Hajar. I don't think they're here. Nope. But yeah, if they watch this on YouTube later, I salute you. Cool. So any other open mic topics? Is anything interesting anyone lately? I know there's been a release and one more pending today. Hopefully that goes well. But is anyone coming across anything that's particularly difficult to implement, or some kind of feature they're having trouble using, or even just toying with? I know I recently have been going through a little bit of work with Prometheus metrics since we did fix a, a, a break in that functionality that was fixed in 2.14. Does anyone here using Prometheus metrics that has run into anything interesting since 2.14? All right. I will take that in the negative. Anything else? I guess I'll leave the mic open here for a little bit, see if anyone has anything that comes to mind. Otherwise, I'll move on. James, are you still cool talking about 2.14 a little bit? I know you had some slides and data on that. Otherwise, I will take the floor.
Uh, yeah, I can give a quick rundown for the group on 214. Sorry, it's James McIntyre. Will come on camera here in a moment. There I am. Yeah, do you have those slides or should I take over the controls? Oh, there you go. Perfect.
All you.
Thank you, Nate. So yeah, as Nate mentioned, we recently had a release. Um, as we do every 6 weeks here in the OpenSearch project. Um, OpenSearch 2.14 was released on May 14th, and I'll give a quick rundown of some of the production-ready features that are new or enhanced with this release, as well as a couple of experimental features that were included in this version. Um, Starting with the production features, as you may have appreciated from our recent releases, and if you're following along on our blog at opensearch.org, performance is a frequent topic there because optimizing performance is an important priority for the project and for the community. This release includes several enhancements that get to uh, OpenSearch performance. One example is for hybrid search, which combines lexical search techniques with neural search to improve the quality of search results. This release includes some updates to how API calls are handled for that type of query. And pretty impressively, at least to me, those updates to API calls are demonstrating performance improvements by as much as 4x over previous versions of OpenSearch. I have a link that I will drop in here if you're curious to know more about that functionality. Um, we have little more information on that, including some, I think, where we quantify some of those performance metrics there. 2.14 also adds performance improvements for date histogram queries. We had a lot of updates to that in the 2.12 release that brought speed increases of 10x to 50x on the NYC taxis benchmark workload for queries without sub-aggregations. This release adds multi-range traversal, which is a performance optimization that has shown gains in performance for this type of query of up to 70% on the HTTP logs workload and 20 to 40% improvements on the NYC taxis workload. There's a link for more information on those, as well as a link to some benchmarks as well. This release also includes some updates that get to ease of use, including support for multiple data sources across 9 external OpenSearch dashboards plugins for a more unified user experience. And I have links for this as well. Again, if you want to dive deeper into any of these topics, we have new capabilities in 2.14 for search and machine learning. That includes API native ingest, which lets you integrate any machine learning model and use those models to enrich data streams through the ingest API. And the release also brings a new machine learning inference processor that can help you automate metadata generation and intelligent document processing by letting you perform inferences with any integrated machine learning model. And just dropping a link in here as well. Again, if folks are interested. We also added a new vector query interface to the neural sparse search toolkit. That neural sparse functionality helps simplify the work of building semantic search applications by using semantic sparse encoders. And now with this release, you can run those queries by just providing a sparse vector as a list of weighted tokens as inputs. That gives you the option to manage machine learning inferencing on the client side, which you could not do in previous versions of OpenSearch. And then this release also introduces radial search as an enhancement to our similarity search functionality. This gives you the ability to use KNN queries to retrieve only results within a certain maximum distance or vector score. It's ideal for use cases where you want to retrieve only the results that are sufficiently similar. For example, documents with a similarity score of greater than or equal to 0.95. That's now an easy similarity search to perform with the radial search functionality. Here's a link to that.
Kind of like a nearest neighbor search, but you specify the value of k. So like I only want the x number of nearest neighbors.
Exactly. You can just set a particular point as a threshold and search the radius of results that have similarity within the limit of that threshold. Then we have a couple of experimental features that are enable the community to explore new functionality and provide feedback before those features become generally available in a future release. So these are inactive by default and not recommended for production, but there is a way to activate those features for anyone who wants to sandbox them or play with them in their environment. One of those is a tiered cache system for the indices request cache. Lets you cache much larger data sets to speed up data retrieval and reduce search latency while mitigating cache evictions and misses. It consists of multiple levels, each with its own size and performance characteristics. For example, you can evict terms from the upper faster tiers, such as the on heap cache, and then move that to the lower, slower tiers like the disk cache. So excited for folks to play with that. If you want to explore that and share your feedback on the request for comments or just learn more, here's a link to that RFC. And then we also added capabilities for the multiple data sources functionality with the addition of cluster level dynamic application configuration. This offers a secure and flexible set of tools for controlling additional cluster settings, such as content security policy rules, to help provide a good user experience while maintaining security standards. I have a link to the documentation for that feature here, if anyone's interested. And yeah, that's the rundown on 2.14. There's a lot more in the tool that's new as well. If folks are interested, I'll share a link to the release notes for 2.14 that provides sort of the fullest rundown of everything that's new and exciting in that release. And then, as Nate mentioned, we have another release just around the corner. We do these about every 6 weeks, so 2.15 is coming soon. Look for that release most likely next week.
Thanks, James. I appreciate you taking on the notes for that.
Sure.
Sometimes it's a bit for me to cram into my mind. So I do appreciate your help there.
My pleasure.
So before we talk about anything else, I wanted to share my favorite thing that I found in Germany. Apparently, there is this type of food called donor, and I'm going to put this in the chat. Oh, transfer of JPEG files is restricted by your account admin.
Just share it on the screen. I knew you'd love Donor.
Anyways, if it's kind of like shawarma, if you've ever had shawarma before, they have these big slabs of beef that they very expertly cut off little strips of. But this was the height of my culinary experience in Germany. Just basically a plate of meat and salad and fries with some sauce, and they'll put chili sauce on there. But that was fantastic. I'd never had anything like it, and I wanted to make sure that no one missed out on my food experience, because I tend to be a pretty picky eater, and it's very rare that I find something that I'm just flabbergasted by. And I actually went back to this little bistro and got some food to go on some of the last days there. But enough about that. Uh, right, community meeting. All right. Well, let's open mic it a little bit. Is anyone? I guess I didn't get much response out of that earlier, but now's the time. Let's see if anyone is curious about anything. I also wanted to mention that just like the OpenSearch uh, software itself, our website is open source as well. And so I was hoping maybe I wanted to put out a call to action for everyone that if there's something you don't like about the website, maybe file a feature request or a bug or something in GitHub. Because I'm starting to look at it, and I'm not, I like it, but I'm not 100. There's something that leaves me a little dissatisfied with it. So if you're browsing opensearch.org, you see something that doesn't quite work, or you find a 404, or find some kind of broken functionality, please do file a bug in GitHub under the project website to make sure that we know about that. Great. Oh, that's the perfect kind of question, Sophia, in case no one's monitoring the chat. Sophia asks, I am new to OpenSearch and not sure where to start. I would like some background of what it is and what is currently being developed. And so that's great. Thank you for coming, and I'm glad that you spoke up there. So OpenSearch is an analytics and observability toolkit where first and foremost, it's powered by Apache Lucene, which is a very, very fine-tuned and well-loved search engine for the most part. And so people can use OpenSearch to implement, say, the most basic use case is keyword search. If you've got a whole bunch of documents, a whole bunch of a corpus of information, you can ingest that into OpenSearch and then use the API on the core OpenSearch to find out which documents contain that keyword. And I know that there's lots of things that can do keyword searches, but what makes OpenSearch so powerful is that it's backed by Apache Lucene, and Lucene is what they call an I always forget whether it's inverse or reverse, and I think they call it an inverse index, where anytime you ingest another document that you want to search through, it goes through and takes every word in it and then maintains what's called a postings file, which is a listing of every single document that contains that keyword. So if you do a search in the future for some keyword, instead of going through all of the documents you've got in your corpus, it'll look it up in that postings file, and it'll be able to tell you exactly which documents contain that keyword. And so that's the most basic use case is a text search use case. One step up from that is lexical or semantic search. So it's where instead of, say, searching for a keyword, you can search for a phrase or a sentence, and it'll actually use a language model to kind of boil down that sentence into what it actually means. It understands the context of your sentence. And so if you if you search for red shoes, it knows that you're going to be searching for documents that are talking about footwear, as opposed to just documents that contain the word red or contain the word shoes. And that's what they call a semantic search. Uh, and then even farther from that, let's suppose that instead of a corpus of documents, say you've got a web server or some kind of logging application, you can send all of your logs to OpenSearch, and then you get that same kind of horsepower in searching through your logs. And it can become a very, very powerful log analytics and observability tool. Now, that's just the core OpenSearch component of things. What makes it even more valuable is the OpenSearch dashboards part of it. And so the dashboards will let you create visualizations and charts. And, when you do your queries, you can kind of graph results and do all kinds of things to visualize and get real-time metrics on what it's doing. So in essence, it's a I like to boil it down to an analytics and observability toolkit, because it's got a number of use cases that is well suited to perform. I hope I knew. I hope that that's what you were asking, Sophia. Is that kind of what you're shooting for? We've been around for 2 years and some change now, and we're a entirely community-driven product, and that's why these community meetings are so very valuable to me, because most features that we implement, most additives are suggested by the community, and so all of that is done via GitHub and these RFCs that we have open, and so yes, this is really this meeting that we have every 2 weeks here is an outreach to the community to get feedback on those kinds of things, and to for people to demonstrate. So Sophia, thank you for asking the question. If you sometime in the future download OpenSearch from opensearch.org, and you're finding that there's something that you find particularly interesting, or let's say you you want to you implement something and you want to do some show and tell, this would be a great place to do that. You know, you'd reach out in the forums or on that intake form that I shared, and we would you know, reach out and say, oh, here's the next slot we have open, you know, and there is no requirement for skill or aptitude or anything like that to present, because this is just a place for people to share and to spread ideas and information. So sorry, that was a mouthful. But yes, I
Yeah,
do.
that's sorry. That's really helpful. Thank you for explaining all of that. Yeah, I will definitely download it and um, play around with it. That sounds really interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, the if you want to get started very quickly, if you're familiar with Docker, I recommend the Docker Compose file. You just you download this YML file and put it in a folder, and from the terminal you type docker-compose up, and it'll spin up this 3-node cluster with OpenSearch dashboards to click around with, and also the OpenSearch core component. Uh, the dashboards comes with 3 sample sets of data. There's a fictional web server with, you know, some fabricated web server logs. There's also an airline, and what's the third one? Gosh, oh, a store, an online store, and it's like, you know, it's not a real store. It's just fabricated logs from a fictitious store that demonstrate how it's used in various workloads. If you're interested in the visualizations, I very much recommend the airline, but you know, probably install all 3. And we also have playground.opensearch.org if you're dying to just click around. And so that's just to get started. If you just want to click around, you know, I'd recommend the playground. But if you want to kind of do your own thing with it, I recommend the Docker image. It's not very intensive for a simple workload, so it runs on my laptop just fine. So there's not much required to get started, and you know, that's probably a good point to make, that you know, big data and even large language model inference isn't limited to companies with huge budgets and lots of you know, huge IT departments. You know, it really is accessible to people. You know, just me sitting here with my laptop, and say uh, you know, if you have a bunch of documents or anything like that that you want to search through, or uh, you know, it's a good tool. I've the the only limit is just arbitrary creativity. You know, I've heard of people using it as like a mood tracker, where if you have this a document where you kind of everything that gets ingested is in the form of JSON. So if you kind of create JSON documents that say, you know, provide a couple of points about your mood, you could probably graph your mood and use it as a mood tracker, or just to come up with something off the bat there. So it really is not limited to any particular subject matter that you want to search and or aggregate through. It really is just down to you what you want to use it for. So there's the sky is the limit. Sky's the limit. Well, that's great. Thanks for asking that, Sophia. I'm always happy to give an intro. And yes, we do have a Slack channel. It's pretty darn responsive, as well as the forum, and it that works very well. We're getting lots of visits on our forum lately, which is probably a pretty good gauge of interest as well. So it makes me feel good hearing that.
And that's been amazing to watch the uptick in the last months to a year. I think we're currently at about 425,000 views in the last month.
Nice.
So a lot of good information out there for everyone. I always recommend starting there.
Just to give the whole spiel here, we also are happy to publish blogs. If you want to write a blog, we can put it up on opensearch.org. You know, our blogs get you know, about 1,000 views a month. It's a great place to publish your work if you're an author or if you like writing tutorials, and we can even offer you editorial support and some guidance if you're a first-time author or anything like that. So if you like to show and tell, that's another good place to share your work.
Yeah, good call.
And of course, the open search cons are great to go and visit and meet other people doing similar things.
We also have user groups that we've started up. It's a good time to call those out.
Yeah.
Let me post a link to our main meetup. We currently have about 12 different groups, ranging from Seattle. I think we have Seattle, BC, Austin, Chicago, New York that we're starting to try to get off the ground, Dublin, one over in Bristol, England. We need a new organizer for. So if you're over there or you know someone, please let me know. Pretty soon we're launching in London. We've launched in Amsterdam, as well as one that we're going to get going in Paris, I believe, in the next couple months. And we just had our first one over in Munich, Germany. So, yeah, lots of good, interesting, interesting ways to get involved with the community at OpenSearch.
And in fact, it's probably good to mention that if none of those user groups are close enough to you, uh, and you're willing to kind of help start up a new one and help manage it, I think we're kind of crowdsourcing the implementation of those a little bit. Is that right, Chris?
We are. If you're interested, reach out. I'd love to speak with you. Get one going. We've also published kind of our charter and some high level guidelines out on our community, our GitHub community um, repository. So if you want to read through that, if you see areas it could improve, submit a PR for that. Always welcome to take insight from the community and make this better in any way.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
yeah,
And even like I can't stress this enough. Even if it ends up just being a place to hang out and share ideas, and have some pizza together, you don't have to be working on genome sequencing with large language AI, taking over the world kind of stuff. It's exactly that. It's a user group. It's a group for the users of it to just hang out, meet each other, and develop the community. So there's no standard of implementation.
yeah, good call. I think our next target date is getting a meetup in Austin, Texas, sometime in July. So Nate might even join you for some barbecue in Austin if you can
Oh,
attend that one.
if you put a plate of meat in front of me, I'll cancel out at least 30 vegans from the meat zone.
Really.
That was a joke. I didn't have much else. We've actually taken up a half hour, 40 minutes so far. Um, has anyone encountered anything cool in the wild in terms of alternatives or anything like that? Like I know there's in order to implement a lot of the things that we do with, say, semantic search, we kind of have to vectorize language and use OpenSearch as a vector database, which is a pretty neat concept in and of itself. But are there any up and comers that anyone is seeing? Are there any new contenders that are uh, appearing in the open source world? Because I've been trying to look around and I'm seeing a lot of what I've seen before. It doesn't seem like I'm seeing a whole lot of new things. Is anyone hip on any new content in that regard?
Nothing in particular.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because I know OpenSearch is a perfectly good vector database. we don't always get credit for that, you know, because it's just one piece of the whole semantic search slash large language model slash AI pipeline. And Sophia, that is something that we can also implement with OpenSearch is you know, if you want to have a chat bot or some kind of natural language interaction with your data, you know, we do have a language model query assistant where you can do things like ask a natural question like how many 500 errors showed up in my web server's logs between these two dates, and it will actually translate your sentence into a API query, a JSON query to send to OpenSearch, and it does pretty darn well at that. And you can connect it to you know, Chat GPT, various other language models, and even just for chatbot functionality. So that's why you know, it really does fit into that Swiss Army knife or, you know, toolkit for people on all of these kinds of use cases. Okay. Well, I don't have too many other topics left for anyone, unless someone has any uh, pointed questions or anything like that. Uh, I may as well give you some time back. I have nothing that's super important to share, but if I'll be watching the project website repo in GitHub. If someone wants to, you know, provide some feedback or a feature request or suggest some kind of presentational change to the website, I'm taking input from everyone because that's also a, you know, an open source part of our collaboration here.
I have one question about the triage. There's a triage meeting set for tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure that most of the US folks are not going to be available. Is it still happening? Do you
Which
think?
one, Amitai? Which
I think it's the core triage.
is it? Core triage?
I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm
I
wrong.
haven't heard otherwise. I have not heard that they've canceled it yet.
Okay.
Let's see,
Yeah,
Wednesdays.
I don't even see it on my calendar.
Wednesdays should be core and search. There's an 8 a.m. core and a 9 a.m. search, typically on Wednesdays every week.
Mhm.
And
I think so. The search probably changed, but I'm not sure about the core.
yeah, let me watch Slack today. Watch the events
Oh, okay.
channel. If they're canceled, I'll follow up with Peter and Fro. See if anything
Yeah, I was wondering
has
if it's
changed on that.
better to just approach them on Slack, or should I just do this through the meetup group? Not sure.
And all of the above is what I would do.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
Slack's pretty good for quick response on those if you want.
Okay. Send them a pigeon.
Cool. Thanks for calling that out. I'm working on building basically kind of a table out on the community repo as well that kind of gives a better, here's this component, here's the typical dates it comes on, or day of the week it comes in on, the time, and who are the owners of each meeting. I think it's a good way to give a quick glance rather than going through this massive calendar and meetup. It might be just a good way to go, okay, remember this is going to be on this date. Still recommend, you know, RSVPing through the meetup group, but it's should be helpful for people.
Yeah, it's not very easy to like. It's hard to coordinate all these different platforms.
Oh, you're telling me, yeah.
And like going through Meetup, and then you're like, this doesn't correspond with what I'm seeing in this site or that site.
Yeah, trying to resolve that. We have a inundation of different platforms and places for people to look. We wanna make it more succinct. So always open to more ideas too. Hoping to get a meetup integration into the website soon. That's an active project right now. It's going to be helpful. I think that'll change the game. pretty heavily for us since we do so much through Meetup. Be nice
I
to have a
think,
calendar view.
yeah, ideally, if I could download a link to the calendar to my Google Calendar or Apple or Outlook or something, that would be probably the best. And I wouldn't have to
For
think
sure.
about it.
Actually,
And then I
that's
just like RSVP
Yeah.
from there, right?
Yeah, I've thought about that too. There's different ways to implement that, and I kind of want to figure out what the right approach to that would be.
Yeah.
has been around for quite some time. I'm sure there's some way we could incorporate, but yeah, I'm very much with Chris there. You know, there's definitely a way to do that and end up making it harder rather than easier. So that definitely requires some thought. It's a good
Yeah.
idea. So I guess I will leave everyone with a couple minutes back, but I do want to shout out once again. This meeting is for you. So I'm sure everyone gets tired of me rambling my mouth for an hour. So please don't feel like you can't bring anything up that you want to talk about, even if it's not something you think everyone will be interested in. It'll give us something to talk about, and especially on days where we don't have presenters, uh I'd like to still make this useful to everyone. So don't hesitate to reach out and sign up to either present or just speak up while you're here, and we'll give you some floor time.
Okay, shall I just bring one point? Maybe it is not it is something not something to discuss in here, but maybe you can point me to discuss in which group or which area. So, okay, before that, I am Munir from Insta Cluster by NetApp. So I started contributing to OpenSearch like 2-3 weeks back, and I have done I merged 3 PRs so far. So I have something in my mind that there is a program called OpenJDK Quality Outreach Program. So basically what they will do is, okay, this is an initiative from OpenJDK. So there are most of major or well-known open source products are already signed off that, and they are part of that quality outreach program. So what basically the aim of that? Yeah, same thing what whoever pointed out in the our chat. So basically, what is the this program is whenever new build, okay, on top of or on the latest release of JDK, whenever new early access build comes, so all the open source people will take that latest build and will test their product with the latest build of JDK. If there is an issue, it may be issue from the JDK, or it may be issue from our side. That maybe we have coded something wrongly, or maybe we are still using something which some features which are going to remove, or it might be something else. So it is a kind of win-to-win. JDK, if it is an issue from JDK, they will get to know early. Otherwise, if it is an issue from our side, we can fix it early, and we will be ready with supporting latest JDK whenever they will release. So this is there in my mind, and even prior to this, I had worked in the OpenJDK. So I don't know in which forum should I propose this. This is the right forum, or I don't think, okay, previously I attended some of the triaging meetings, so I don't know, because they all are like specific to a particular component. So I don't know whether that is the right forum. So you can route me.
Yeah, it's definitely not the wrong forum, that's for sure. We can talk about anything here, but I think this would be a good thing to bring up, say maybe at the core triage meeting, and probably in the Slack channel, maybe in the dev channel, because I know we bundle a JDK, and we also you can specify your own JDK to use, and that I mean, some kind of quality control seems like it would make sense as those versions increase. We want some kind of baseline as to how well it's working. That's well outside of my expertise, but yes, I think you definitely should bring that up to the development channel, maybe at the core triage meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Do
thanks
we
for
have
that.
a group for like builds and stuff like that in the pipeline? That's kind of
Yeah, I believe we do have a let's see, where's my OpenSearch?
if we have a triage group for that, it's probably more more in that direction, because that's where we sort of try and do benchmarking on different builds and on different JDK versions.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't
If
see a
not, then it's core, kind of the same.
yeah, I don't see a specific build channel, but I do see a dev channel.
I'd say start with core. We can always redirect it somewhere else. That'll hit the individuals that are likely tied to both of them. Because typically, if you're part of core, you could be part of build as well. You could also consider opening an issue out on the. If it's benchmark specific, you could probably open an issue out on the benchmark repository on GitHub. But yeah, I'd probably start with core or dev on the Slack channel, and they'll direct you to the appropriate place directly from the people that are involved in that specific part of the project.
Yeah. Okay.
That's an awesome call out. Thanks for speaking up. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I will leave everyone to it. One more thing, tell all your friends that we meet here, you know, every other Tuesday at 8 a.m. and then the next every other Tuesday, 3 p.m. You know, I'd love to see more faces in here talking about whatever you want. You know, this should be kind of a analog to the user groups, except online. You know, this is a place to talk about anything that interests you or is bothering you or something broken or whatever. This is for you. Thanks for coming. I will
Thank you.
catch you guys. Let's see, what is it? The second? Oh no, the 20 something. No, the second next month.
Next one will be July 2nd at 3 p.m. Pacific time.
Thank you. Bye bye.